All right, welcome everyone. I call the January 19th, 2021 Bothell Regular City Council meeting to order. Before we move on to the agenda items, I'd like to acknowledge our remote meeting format. Proclamation 20-28 regarding open public meetings is still in effect. Therefore, this meeting will be held entirely remotely. Public comment will be allowed both in writing or verbally. Sign-up sheets were provided by the city clerk's office via the link from the agenda. This video of the meeting will be streamed live as well as recorded and available for later viewing on the city's YouTube channel. A call-in number was provided on the meeting agenda for members of the public who wish to call in by phone to listen live to the meeting. If you have called in, we ask that you mute your device so as you not interfere with the meeting. If a participant fails to mute their device and their connection causes a disruption, they'll be asked to, or their connection will be terminated. For our phone-in callers during staff presentation, staff will make every effort to let the audience know where they are in the presentation. At this moment, we'll take a roll call of the council members by position. Please say here when the city clerk calls your name.
Deputy Mayor Zorn.
Here.
Councilmember Thompson.
Here.
Councilmember McAuliffe. Councilmember McNeil.
Here.
Mayor Olson.
Here.
Councilmember Dorr.
Here.
And Councilmember Agnew.
Here.
Thank you.
Lastly, before we begin, I'd like to reiterate some of our meeting guidelines. Speak clearly and pause frequently. Mute your microphone when you're not speaking. If you're also streaming the live video, please turn down the sound as there is a delay. For our council members, if you want to speak, please indicate by holding up the yellow card in the lower portion of your screen. This will help prevent two people from speaking at the same time. All right, our first item is meeting agenda approval. Any changes to tonight's agenda? Councilmember Agnew?
Yeah, I'd like to pull AB 21-005.
Okay. Councilmember McNeil?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to just have a personal moment of silence, if we may. We've lost 400,000 people in our country due to this pandemic. So if everybody would indulge, I'd like to have a moment of silence for the 400,000 lost lives that meant so much to their families. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. These are remarkable times.
Mr.
Astronomical. Mayor? Yes, City Council, Councilmember Thompson.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I wanted to pull an agenda bill before we moved on from that. I wanted to pull 004, if that's all right.
That does it for our consent agenda then. All right, I have that down. So next we have our public engagement opportunities. So we have a virtual conversation with the artist Ellen Boostede, February 3rd at 6:30 p.m. So join the City of Bothell Arts Commission and the Bothell Library for a special virtual conversation with abstract artist Ellen Boostede. See her art, ask questions, tour her studio, and watch and learn as Ellen explains how she creates an abstract piece. Register and find her art gallery online or on our website or Parks and Recreation Facebook page. All right. I believe we have a city manager report, I believe. Assistant City Manager Kelly Mazzoli will present that today.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Give me just a moment. I have a legislative update for you. And I'm going to share my presentation here. All right, Kelly Mazzoli, I'm your Assistant City Manager, and this evening I have one of many forthcoming updates regarding our 2021 legislative session. This one might be just a little bit longer due to me introducing the format to you, but I'll plan for these to be a little briefer in the future. Also, these will be at each of your council meetings. So as you're aware, there are a number of pretty meaty topics for this legislative session, so we thought it would be good to come to you and give you these regular updates and briefings and give you an opportunity to provide feedback if you'd like to or ask more questions. So some of the topics that we're seeing are everywhere from transportation to law enforcement and affordable housing. So I will do my best to keep you updated as we go fast and furious through this legislative session. Some general session information. The session began last Monday on January 11th. It is our longer session, so it'll last about 105 days, and it'll adjourn on April 25th. The Senate and the House are currently controlled by Democrats, and this session's a little different. It will be a virtual format. So I call it Virtual Olympia whenever I refer to it, as they work through that session due to the ongoing pandemic. Our legislative priorities, these are in your adopted legislative agenda. As a reminder, there are 4 different legislative priorities for us this session. You approved to go to the state legislature and ask for about $7 million in construction dollars for the widening of Bothell Way Northeast and Bothell Everett Highway. Another project that we're seeking some construction funds for in the amount of about $600,000 is the completion of North Creek Regional Trail Section 4. And then as a reminder, we also have that we're looking for some funding opportunities as it relates to transportation demand management. And this is in conjunction with our Canyon Park sub-area planning efforts. And then also we're looking for support regarding our downtown revitalization, and that's the cleanup of our downtown properties. So just as a reminder, these are our primary focus while we're down there. This is where we spend most of our time and efforts, is trying to make progress on these 4 items that you approved and adopted as your legislative agenda. And I did want to give a quick update. So Representative Dewar and Senator Stanley have both submitted the North Creek Regional Trail in their to their capital budget lead. So we are well on our way. That's first step in the process, and we'll continue to give you updates as we go along. The second focus for us is bill monitoring, and there are a number of bills that go through the state legislature. So it is secondary in focus, and what we tend to do is we utilize your adopted policy manual to either support, oppose, or monitor different bills as they're going through the legislature. So we're really looking to support those policies, though, that help us to accomplish city goals or to promote our legislative agenda. And we look to oppose those policies in order to ensure that there's no harm done to the city. So currently, where we stand after the first week, we have about 8 bills that we are in support of. We have 0 that we're in opposition of, and we have more than a dozen that we are currently monitoring. Bills, just as a reminder, that we are monitoring may eventually end up in either the support or opposed, depending on the direction that some of them take. We're still pretty early on in the session. So during each of these briefings, I will just give you a list. There's 8 different bills. I'm not going to go through each. I'm just going to highlight a few for you. So House Bill 1035 is sponsored by Representative Kloba here in Bothell. And Representative Kloba is looking to provide local options for renters relief with this bill. And if it does go to a hearing, we're prepared to support the bill and have one of our council members testify in support of that bill. House Bill 1069 is a local government flexibility bill. This is being promoted by the Association of Washington Cities. And basically it provides a menu of local options to temporarily help cities to fulfill those gaps for funding that have happened or occurred during COVID. And so these would end in 2023 as it's currently proposed. And I give you this update because there is a menu of options. There is one that we personally are looking to get in there, which has to do with utility liens. But there are some that may not be supported by certain groups. So one that has come up is there is an option for local governments to utilize lodging tax dollars on things other than promoting tourism and what's currently defined in law. It is simply an option on the menu, but the Hospitality Association has come out in opposition of that. So I just wanted you to be aware that there are pieces of that legislation that we are in support of as a city, but there may be groups out there that don't support specific items in there. House Bill 1100 and Senate Bill 5079. House Bill 1100 is authored by Representative Dewar. And so these two bills we're supporting due to their connection with preserving affordable housing and specifically mobile homes and manufactured housing. So those are some of the highlights of the ones that we are supporting, along with the other ones that are listed. And then, as I mentioned, there are none that we are signing in opposition of, and we have about 17 that we're monitoring. So these ones that we're monitoring will be listed in your weekly report, and there's links to the actual bill, and there is a range of topics. So like I said, there's law enforcement topics, there's local options for funding, housing, and then there are many others on there. So, and many more to come, I'm sure. But like I said, we're monitoring them closely. We're looking to see how they develop and then to see if there's something that, if they follow our policy manual, that we would be in support of, or if it's something that we might be in opposition of. So moving forward, I thought I would outline what to expect. So you will receive a weekly legislative report that I will email out on Mondays typically. So apologize for the delay with the holiday this week. And getting that first one out, but it is in your inbox. In this report, what you'll get, these updates come from our lobbyist, Gordon Thomas Honeywell. So you'll get updates from them. There's also important session dates, our legislative priorities, and other issues will be listed. And then you might want to pay attention to the legislative action for the upcoming week. So this will outline any bills that we're currently monitoring in support of or in opposition of that may have a hearing for the week. So that might be of some interest. And then the detailed bill summaries will probably be of interest. So this will have all of the bills that we're looking at. And the ones that we're in support of, we have added what policy manual statement that we're utilizing in order to be in support of. So very riveting stuff in this weekly report, but lots of great detail and very easy to click on a bill and jump right into it if you actually want to read the bill itself. So those will be coming to you, like I said, email and on Mondays. And then at each of your council meetings from here until the end of the session, through the end of April, we will have this update, and I will look to give you any general session information that's of note. I will highlight progress on those legislative priorities that we outlined in our legislative agenda. And then I will also let you know what bills we're taking a position on, or maybe there are some bills that we need to take a position on. We may want to get a little feedback from you, or you may want to offer some feedback and request more information. I am by no means our legislative expert. I will just say that. Our expert really is Shelley Helder with Gordon Thomas Honeywell and Brianna Murray. So on some of this, I might be able to answer it if you have specific questions, but feel free to email me if you have specific questions, and I can make sure to get that information to you, or you can just ask and I will follow up and get that info for you. So with that, thank you, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? I am not. Oh, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, just quick question. Well, first off, Kelly, thank you. I don't know how to say thank you, but this has me excited for the next several months. Just that there are some meaningful things that our city can pay attention to and have some impact on. Do you know about what time of day we will get those? Will that be like at the end of the day, in the middle of the day? Sorry, I'm already trying to figure out my Mondays.
No problem. What I will do is I will try to get it out by early afternoon at the latest.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I did see the one you sent out earlier today and really appreciated it.
No problem.
Councilmember McNeil.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Kelly, it's amazing work. Thank you for putting this together. I look forward to getting those updates. Will you let us, how far in advance would you be able to let us know if we needed to take action as a council person? You needed to make a statement or go make our voice heard somewhere.
Yeah, we'll reach out if it's timely and we can't wait until the city council meeting. But since we'll be giving these regular updates, then I think we can talk to council as a whole. And if there's something, we can be in touch with the mayor and determine actions to make sure we don't miss any deadlines.
Fabulous. And since we all missing going up to Olympia together and we can't get together now, we need to social distance. Is there opportunity for us to meet with our legislators virtually during that time, a group of us, to do something like that? Is there an opportunity for that?
I'm sure that there is an opportunity to do that sometime during the session. The mayor and the deputy mayor did get an opportunity to do a briefing with our representatives and Senator Stanley. So that has already occurred pre-session, but there I'm sure will be opportunity to do so.
Fabulous. Well, it's good to see that we're still engaging. Thank you, Kelly.
All right. Thank you very much for that report, Kelly. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to those as well. All right, on to our council committee reports. Does anyone have a report they would like to make? Councilmember McNeil.
Thank you. I just have a really brief update from PIC. I will be forwarding my notes from the PIC meeting. A lot of substance in this PIC meeting, first one of the year. But there was the typical chair's report, executive director's report. We've scheduled our meetings all for 2021. We talked about regional board committee appointments. One thing I will point out is there's an opening for a board committee position on EMAC, which is Emergency Management Advisory Committee. So if anybody's interested in emergency management services or being on that committee, that would be a great one for Bothell to participate in. We have legislative priority agenda reports that are going to be coming to us now regularly on a monthly basis. King County Health through Housing Initiative, we had an brief update on that. Emergency Management Zone Coordinators. And then a preview, we had an orientation this last meeting on regional committee appointments. So everybody who's new to committee appointment attended the orientation. So it was great to see all the new faces from around the region. So I'll forward this, my notes from the meeting to all of you, and definitely some really good information in this PIC update. I will also be forwarding you the RPC notes that I took, best starts for schools or for kids. There was a brief update on that, and affordable housing, et cetera. So I will get those out to you guys here shortly.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Zorns.
No report. I just never have a chance to thank Councilmember McNeil for the notes that he so faithfully gets forwarded to us. So between you and Laura, thank you for doing that. I know it's time consuming and it's another piece of your day, but I appreciate it. Even though I don't say it, I appreciate it every time it shows up in my box.
All right. On to visitor comments. City Clerk, do we have any this evening?
We do, Mayor. We have one person here in the meeting room to speak, Kylie Chang, and she is a youth member with the Arts Commission. Amy, could you panel Kylie in, please? Hi, Kylie. Thank you. You're going to have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, hello, I'm Kylie, and I'm a youth member on the Bothell City Arts Commission. First of all, I'd like to thank you for adding youth voices to the commission. It's been a really great opportunity for me to learn more about the government and the community. All right, so as you know, in 2020, you adopted the Arts Commission's cultural plan, and so far in 2021, we've been developing a scope of work, or our implementation plan, from our cultural plan. So we received a grant from For Culture to bring back our consultant to help us draft draft our implementation plan. And one project that we're doing thanks to our implementation plan is coming to council meetings to give you updates on what we're doing, which is why I'm here tonight. I would also, this was mentioned earlier, but I would also like to encourage all of you to mark your calendars for our collaboration between the Arts Commission and then the Bothell King County Library for our virtual interview with Ellen Bastide at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, February 3rd. So Ellen was originally scheduled to exhibit her abstract painting at City Hall, but because the City Hall gallery was closed due to the pandemic, we're looking for new and inventive ways to showcase and support our artists who are unable to exhibit. So the virtual interview includes a Q&A with Ellen, a tour of her studio, and a demonstration in 5 steps of her work. And you can sign up on the city's website and also on the King County Library's website. So we all just want to thank you so much for your ongoing support for the Arts Commission, and thank you for listening to me speak tonight.
Thank you.
Mayor Olson, that's the only person I have on the list to sign up. However, I don't know if there's other attendees in the attendee room that wish to speak. If so, could you please use the raise the hand function? We'll give it a minute and see if we get anybody. Nope, I'm not seeing anybody.
All right. Thank you. On to our next item. So we have our consent agenda, but everything was pulled, so we will go through these. So it looks like first one up we have is AB 21-004, approval of an agreement with Ivoxy Consulting for enterprise storage, replacement, and associated professional services. So Councilmember Thompson, you pulled this one, I believe.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. You know, throughout what we got in the packet, it refers to the cloud, but it also, obviously, we're buying some on-site storage as well. So I was hoping just to get clarified, like specifically what this kind of $100,000 is for, and what we thought about this compared to using an off-site cloud storage system.
Council members, Joe Sherman here, Information Services Director. I'd love to answer those questions. So when we talk about cloud services, we talk about internal cloud services and external cloud services, and we actually use a hybrid of both. So, for example, our email system is an external cloud system. So it's not residing in our network. Of course, it's hosted by Microsoft. We also use it for our website and our park facilities rentals. So those are truly virtual outside of our network. Internal to our network, we use cloud computing too. And what cloud computing internally is a centralized storage area. It gives us the capability to not have single servers for all the applications and store the data in one specific place in the cloud internally. So the reason we use those in most cases is for specific applications that we run inside the city. We want to be able to access that data without having to count on the internet. For example, our GIS data, if that data was housed outside or externally in the cloud, we would not have access to it if we did not have access to the internet. So it's about the same cost to do it internally and externally, but we get more control of the data and it's easier for us to manipulate. So I think that might answer your question on external and internal.
Yeah, I guess, and what I was thinking, and again, I'm not a tech genius, so please don't take this the wrong way, but like if we're buying something that we expect to last about 10 years, we're buying extra capacity over the course of the next 10 years, and then year 11, we're going to need something else, as opposed to if it were offsite cloud, we could simply just buy what we needed without having to worry about that overage. But I hear you say it costs about the same over the course of the long term.
That's correct. So that's a great question, by the way. The reason the internal, again, that flexibility of how to manipulate it, to be quite honest, purchasing IT equipment isn't like cars. I'd love to get 10 years out of any one of my, IT hardware items, but that's unrealistic. 3 years is usually what we're getting. Not shockingly, the tech business keeps making money pretty well. So we pay for that, and that is in the hosted services too. So that's where that cost differential is. What we did here, again, I always believe it's the Bothell way, and it's something that I've always focused on as the being the IT manager and then director here, is leveraging existing technology to create a stable platform. So in this case, we're actually buying the capability to grow, but not populating those shelves, so to speak. So we're buying a bigger bookcase, but not filling the shelves with data storage. So we can grow. And our data requirements have changed drastically in 3 to 5 years. The amount of videos, the amount of data. I mean, just take these meetings, for example. We've been doing this for close to a year. These will be recorded and saved. So all of that information now has to go somewhere. So the new system will let us grow a little longer. And what we're also doing is leveraging the company that we're using and having the old system be our emergency backup. So it'll actually be in a warm site. And what we do is we split our data at night. We do a full data move so we can restore our equipment in case something happened. And in this case, we have an offsite city site that the data is moved back and forth. So if something happened to City Hall or PD, we could restore that data from a remote site. So that's another benefit of controlling that cloud internally.
I hear you say like a 3-4 year life cycle for this. In 3 or 4 years, do we replace or do we add to?
It depends on the life of what we're finding out is we're getting about 3 years out of the gear. We push the end of life. I would say other organizations like to stay on the cutting edge. We ride it out until the end of life on most of our gear. We count on our vendors. We pay them well. And it's really important that we can get what we believe is the value out of that equipment. So when we purchase this specific item, it's going to, we believe, last that long, 3 to 4 years, but it'll also give us more flexibility in a year or two if our data requirements continue to rise, where I wouldn't have to come and say, okay, I've got to add another shelf. I do not like coming to council meetings and every other year and saying I need more stuff. So we like to build in that flexibility. We're getting really good at keeping an eye on our data, and we're working very, very hard with all the departments to ensure that the data is put in the correct places. So we use that as an ability to for data that has maybe has value, but it's reached its end of working life. We can move that into some offsite storage and save the data storage internally for work that's being done or documents that are being manipulated. So we're always cleaning, moving, archiving, backing up. So having that internal device is really important.
Okay, I get the redundant backup. I guess I'm just surprised that buying new hardware every 3 to 4 years is roughly the cost of like AWS or something like that. I guess I was under the impression that they had economies of scale that resulted in cost savings.
Again, that cost differential, is it worth? We still have to maintain the data. So we're still manipulating that data offsite. We have to figure out a way to back it up. We have to pay for backup services if we need it. And then we can't control that data if we don't have access to the network. So we look for opportunities to push those data items out, and they pop up all the time. We always look for that. You know, some of the pay services that we're moving to and controlling. When we see an opportunity to say that there's no value in cost, and we don't need that direct control, we make sure it goes outside. So we leverage that when possible.
Awesome. Joe, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Zorns.
Well, first I have to thank IS. I have been major crew busier than I care to have made them busier the last, I don't know, maybe even since this summer. And I'm married to a computer guy. And so I am very, very grateful for the amount of graciousness that you handle, that your whole staff handles for us people who are just, you know, seeing it as a tool with not a whole lot of clues on how it all works. So, you know, please, I'm proud of your crew and thank them for how they take care of us. I do have a couple questions. One question was, do we have a secondary place outside of City Hall where we can back up? And you said, yes, we do. So that's good. And then does this system allow us to protect our more critical data, make it harder for an outside party to dive into our personal business as a city?
Yeah, that's a great point too. That's one of the benefits of the internal cloud is we directly control that access to that data. So we build walls and walls and walls and walls, and we train and we train and we train and we do a lot of work because we have the data. So if the data resided somewhere else, sometimes the challenges are we don't control that access. We see that all the time in this business where banks are getting hacked and your data is getting out on the web. And you know, credit card companies, those are where places sometimes where they're being hosted. So you lose some of that data control when you outsource or, you know, put it externally in the cloud. Internally, we control it, and I'll find as much wood as I can knock on. We're doing pretty good. So thank you for the kind words, and I'll make sure I pass that on to the team.
Well, I know that we give you a run for your money. If it's not someone doing something stupid within, you know, the city, there's those outside forces, which I don't understand what motivates people to get into such mischief. And yet there's always someone who does. Oh, one last question. Our physical space for storing this, looking 10 years down the road, do we have, it sounds like we do replacement. Do you think that we're going to have plenty of space 10, 15 years down the road, or are we going to have to start being creative in City Hall?
No, so the benefit of me being around here for 20 years is I got to upgrade the PD when we built the server room over there. And what we did, we actually created what we called high density storage areas. So we did what these larger companies like Mason was talking about. We created very efficient data farms. What we also did is when we built City Hall, I was hoping and was part of that build team, and it was really important that when I left, that I didn't feel I left someone else with a problem, and we left a temporary or a server room space that's available in City Hall. Granted, it has to be built out with cooling, but the room's there, the power's there, the backup is there for power or for UPS for interruptible power supply. We would just have to slap a big air conditioner on the roof, but we would design this building to grow for that. We have not reached 50% of capacity in what we built over at PD about 9 years ago when we upgraded that to the high capacity server farm that we did. So we're in a real good spot. So I'm hoping that one day when I leave someone in a better place than I felt I was left with. So.
Well, that's very encouraging to hear. I just have to say thank you one more time, and you are not allowed to retire for at least another 20 more years. So, just saying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further questions, I'll be looking for a motion on this item. Councilmember Thompson,
Move the recommended action.
Councilmember Dewar,
Second.
all right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Thompson to approve the agreement with Ivoxy for purchase of storage equipment and installation services totaling $102,000, $193.12 with an annual estimated expenditures of $10,000 for maintenance support. And a second by Councilmember Dewar. Any discussion on the item? All right, seeing none, City Clerk.
Please say yes or no when I call your name. Deputy Mayor Zorns,
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson,
Yes.
Councilmember McCullough, can you repeat that, please? Councilmember McCullough,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember McNeil,
Yes.
Mayor Olson,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewar,
Yes.
Councilmember Agnew.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Thank you. All right, on to our next agenda bill, 20-005, approval of an ordinance to incorporate the city's fire impact fee schedule into the city's general fee schedule, periodically updated by resolution of the city council.
And Mr. Mayor, this is City Attorney Paul Byrne speaking. I'm actually pleased to introduce our new Deputy City Attorney. I'm not sure how many of you have had the pleasure of meeting him yet. His name is Robbie Seppler, and he will be presenting briefly and answering any questions you may have on this item.
Great. Welcome, Mr. Seppler. I will turn it over to Councilmember Agnew. He pulled this item.
Yeah, I just wanted an update on what we're trying to accomplish here. We're moving the fire impact fee schedule into the city's general fee schedule. Is that so we can, if we need to, since our fire impact fees are low, increase them without a huge problem? What are we trying to accomplish?
Thank you for the question, Councilmember Agnew. And again, I'm Robbie Seppler, the city's new Deputy City Attorney, and a pleasure to meet you all officially this evening. So what we're trying to accomplish here is the first and foremost, just administrative ease of managing the city's fees. Right now, we have the fire impact fees in the city code, and they're not in the city's general fee schedule, which includes most of the city's other fees. So by moving it out of the code and moving it into the city's fee resolution at the same amount, it just means it's one less place the city has to look to maintain the fees. And it also makes it a slightly easier process should the fees ever need to be adjusted.
Okay, and they're going to be in there just so we can hypothetically say in 10 years and 20 years they need to build a fire station in the South End. We'll have those funds and those fees in there for that, right?
Exactly. They'll still maintain the same purpose that they are now. They'll be at the same amounts that they're currently in the code. They'll simply be in the place with all the other fees applicable to development.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Any other questions? If not, I'll look for a motion. Councilmember Agnew.
I recommend that we approve the ordinance incorporating the city's fire impact fee schedule into the city general fee schedule.
Deputy Mayor Zorns.
Second.
All right, thank you. So I have a motion by Councilmember Agnew for the recommended action, a second by Deputy Mayor Zorns. Any discussion? All right, seeing none. City Clerk.
Please say yes or no when I call your name. Deputy Mayor Zorns,
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson,
Yes.
Councilmember McAuliffe,
Yes.
Councilmember McNeil,
Yes.
Mayor Olson,
Yes.
Councilmember Dorr,
Yes.
and Councilmember Agnew.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
All right, thank you, everyone. On to our public hearing. So we had a continued public hearing from our previous meeting.
Yes, and like there we go. Yes, so as Mayor Olson indicated, this was held over from last week to a date certain, specifically tonight, in order to see what would happen with the governor's ability to veto the vote that would have made these effective on July 1st. We have heard back from the governor's office. He did exercise that veto, so these will go into effect on February 1st. There is one piece of clarification that remains, whether it was all encompassing or whether it excluded the energy codes. So we will wait for that clarification from the governor. But at this point, it would be appropriate, if council so decided, to pass the ordinance from last week, incorporating everything with an effective date of February 1st. Like I said, if we get any sort of indication from the governor's office that the energy codes were somehow not part of the February 1st effective date, we'll bring something back in February, early February, in order to make that correction.
All right. Thank you for that update. Does anyone have any questions?
And I believe also, because we continued the public hearing, that would be proper to allow people to voice their comments if there are any that desire to do so.
City Clerk, did we have any
Mayor Olson-
comments or anyone online?
Mayor Olson, I'm not showing, nobody signed up to speak under this public hearing. I do have one person that's in the attendee room, Mr. Mike D. I'm not sure if he would like to speak to this item. If so, could you please use the raise the hand function, Mr. D? Nope.
All right, Councilmember Dewar.
I move the recommended action.
Councilmember Agnew.
I second that.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Dewar to adopt the revisions, deletions, and additions to the BMC Title 20 effective February 1st, and a second by Councilmember Agnew. Any discussion on the item? All right, seeing none. City Clerk.
Please say yes or no when I call your name. Deputy Mayor Zorns,
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson,
Yes.
Councilmember McAuliffe. You're muted. Could you please unmute and repeat? Still muted. How about a thumbs up?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember McNeil,
Yes.
Mayor Olson,
Yes.
Councilmember Dorr,
Yes.
Councilmember Agnew.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right, thank you, everyone. So our last item of the evening before we go into executive session is our council conversations. Anyone have a topic, or Deputy Mayor Zorns?
Well, I have several items, and of course, and my apologies, little apologies, and one item to discuss. The first item is from a letter that we all got from someone who was very distressed about a mask protest that happened up in Canyon Park, and I didn't see it. I haven't heard follow-up. I told them that I would speak to it as a council if people are listening. And I understand that the stress that people are having during COVID and feeling like their freedoms are being infringed on. Masks are one of those things that are one of those freedoms. Like you remember in school when we talked about our rights, and my right ends at the point of your nose or your face, right? If I'm swinging my hands around, and breathing and exploding, which is what I call sneezes and coughs. This keeps my right from invading your rights. And so this person was, genuinely concerned that people who were protesting weren't being thoughtful about other people that could put them in harm's way, and it would put them in harm's way. So if you want, they're not going to protect you as much as they're going to protect other people. So please, people, be thinking about when you are around other people, it is your responsibility to protect their rights as much as protecting your rights. So there's that. The second one is kind of exciting. I don't have any more details, but remember George Ahern with East West Food Rescue. I got a call from him a couple weeks ago, and he said he has an opportunity with a couple other agencies to bring in 1 to 2 semi-truckloads regularly into Bothell with USDA food boxes. And what that means is we need to find a place where those semi-trucks can offload, and hopefully there's a business maybe or a church with a big parking lot that has a forklift. And then what happens, Woodinville has this going on, I think Kenmore has it going on, is that they're offloading these USDA food boxes to cars as they come in and handing them off. I know I would love to be part of handing that off. I bet a lot of council members would like to be part of that too. So I will keep you posted, and hopefully there's going to be a spot for them to land. Last item. So I don't know how many of you can see our mayor right now, and he's got 2 flags right behind him. And it bugs the tar out of me as a photographer and a gardener, is that you never have groups of 2. You always have odd numbers. So, 1 or 3. And what's missing in the set of 3 sitting behind him is a Bothell flag. And when we go places like AWC, when they do the city parade of flags, Bothell ain't got no flag to parade. We just sit there and watch all the other cities go down with their flags. So to keep our mayor in balance and to have a flag, here's an idea. Think about it. You can email me. I would like to find, I don't want to spend a lot of money on it. I think it would be great down the road, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, having a flag design contest where we design the most beautiful flag ever. But in the meantime, would you consider as a council going in on a flag that will last, say 5 years, and it could stand right handsomely behind our mayor there, with just our Bothell logo of the bridge on it. And I will look to what, how much, when I've been looking, it looks like anywhere from $50 to $150. Think about, as a council, if you would like to donate something to it. I'm not going to put you on the spot here, but split that 7 ways. We could put a nice flag to stand behind our mayor. So email me if you think you would like to participate in it. And that's it.
Councilmember McAuliffe.
Thank you. And love your idea. Now, there's 2 things I just wanted to bring up tonight. One of them is how impressive our student was from the Arts Commission and how well she spoke. I believe, if I have her name right, isn't it Ailey? Did I say it right, Laura?
I believe it's Kylie.
Kylie, I tried to write it down. She did an excellent job, and it just shows what our young people can bring to the city and what they can learn from us as well. So I just want to note how impressive she was. And secondly, I want to show my appreciation for the city, who is working very hard, and Jennifer Phillips, thank you so much, and Jean Ash for working with our restaurants who are struggling very much to survive. And I know that you're working with one particular that we all care about. So I just want to thank you for helping people when we are in the greatest need, and we will be for a long time. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Councilmember Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor. I think if we do a flag, like, doesn't it have to have a crow on it? Like a crow with a thought bubble that says a day or a lifetime or something like that?
Well,
No, absolutely not.
That's a great idea, Deputy
Yeah.
Mayor. Great idea, Deputy Mayor.
I've got a feeling I'm not going to win the design contest, you guys. But I mostly just wanted to say that the USDA food boxes, I would love us to get involved in that. You know, that is some real good that is being done for people that live here, and anything that we can do to support the work that George and his crew are already doing, I think we should do. And I would love to hand them off, and I just wanted to voice my support for that. I think that's a great idea. So thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Councilmember McNeil.
Thank you. I would echo the same thing. I would also encourage to reach out to the senior center, because I know they're doing a lot of work. They have a very large parking lot over there where they might be able to actually bring trucks in and trucks out. I
did ask him about it, so thank you.
Might be really good. I know they're feeding 700 families a week right now. It might be a good addition to them to help out. So I know Brooke's doing amazing work over there. So please reach out to them as well.
Councilmember Dewar.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate a person who's always very busy appreciating everyone else, and that is Deputy Mayor Zorn. The three things that you spoke about just show why you're an excellent deputy mayor. You are involved in the community and your heart's in the right place. And I just want you to know that we all appreciate what you do to represent Bothell. And you thank everybody else all the time, but I thought it was time that you got some appreciation too.
You're going to make me cry because you guys are all the best. You really are all the best. So the appreciation goes both ways.
Councilmember Agnew.
Well, I think Jeannie needs to be appreciated much more than that, but I think we got to have crows in that flag. I mean, there is no doubt in my mind.
All right, the love is over. Go on.
A crow with an IAFF patch, right, Tom?
Yeah. Y'all are horrible.
And just create the bridge with crows.
Yeah.
Don't give away all the good design ideas already. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of comment on a couple of the great ideas that our fabulous deputy mayor, our wonderful deputy mayor said. And yeah, I agree with Councilmember Dewar. Jean is great, and I very much enjoy the relationship we've cultivated as mayor and deputy mayor, and I thank her very much for our chats that we have. And yeah, just her words on the mask protest to start off. Yeah, it's a small thing, wearing the masks, but it really shows that you do care for everyone, you know, outside of yourself, because yeah, it does protect other people more than it protects you. It helps you, it helps other people. So it's a small inconvenience that we all can do to try and end this sooner than it is now. So yeah, so I just wish and hope everyone in our city has as much heart as our deputy mayor and wears their masks. And your connection with George Ahern. I appreciate that, Gene. You're always keeping us up to date on that. I think that would be great, having those food boxes coming into Bothell. If it could augment what the senior center is doing already, I think that would just double up, just make it even more effective. If not, I'm sure we can find some other entity within the city with a large parking lot and a forklift to do the heavy lifting, and we can be out there doing the light lifting of the boxes. And yeah, I love the levity of the flag that you brought up, and really connecting with our other council members on some of their great design ideas. So, and yeah, anything to bring balance. I always feel like I'm leaning over to the left. So yeah, getting that in there would be great, and being represented at AWC with the flags and just anywhere else. I think it'd be nice, and then a good community activity when we can to look at designing that crow flag. I think you have a little mascot, a little crow mascot, don't you?
Yes, I do have a little crow mascot. And where did that come from? On the serious note, on the lower North Creek, when we had that open house right before the break, the number 3 problem of things that are making it unhealthy for the salmon happens to be fecal matter, which we can thank our crows for. So, you know, they do have a dark side. I'm just saying, besides their wings, they have a dark side. So if we could find a way to get them away from our waterways and my house, I would be happy.
Do crows have a light side? Have I been missing something?
Yeah, I don't know. They are mischief makers. That might be part of it. Yeah.
All right, looks like we're winding down here on our conversations. So we still have our executive session that we have. Let me see. All right, so next we'll move into our executive session regarding performance evaluation pursuant to RCW 42.30-110, parent 1, parent G. So this executive session is anticipated to last 2 hours with no action expected. Council will now adjourn this meeting and enter into a Microsoft Teams meeting for the duration of the executive session. We will adjourn the city council meeting from there.
And quick question, Mayor Olson, before we adjourn, are we confident it's going to take only 2 hours, or should we, since there's no action, should we list it as a 3-hour executive session?
For some sound advice from our city attorney, I think we should state it as 3 hours as our experience from last time, and hope that we hit the 2 hours, but we'll go with the 3 hours.
Alrighty, see you there.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See you on the Teams.